Paige Bergfeld disappeared on Thursday, June 28, 2007. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information you have to work with is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Paige Bergfeld's last known 24 hours may hold the clues to what happened to her.
I said, if she's missing, you're involved in a crime. She would never have left her kids.
A devoted mother of 3, beloved by friends and family alike, disappears without a word one hot summer day.
And I said, well, where's Rob? That was my first concern after everything she had been saying to me.
Friends are convinced that Paige's recent ex-husband must be involved. But detectives discover a secret part of Paige's life that holds more clues.
What we had learned was that she had been putting herself out there as an adult escort.
NaughtyNightLife.com advertised everything from threesomes to partner swapping, erotic massage.
Whatever line of work Paige is in, the job of the police is the same.
Who is it out there that thinks that they can take away from my grandchildren their mother? Who is this person? What kind of a human being is this?
Friday, June 22nd. Another gorgeous sunny day in western Colorado. Devoted moms Barbara Campbell and Paige Bergfeld are enjoying a pool party with their kids.
We'd been playing for a while, and then Paige showed up with her kids. Paige and I hung out for quite a while, and we got to talk more privately.
Barbara has often heard Paige's conflicting feelings about her recent ex-husband.
She started talking to me about Rob and being very worried.
On June 22nd, Barbara notices something out of the ordinary in Paige's manner.
At the pool party, she was downright scared. It was, I am really afraid that something's going to happen now.
Barbara is extremely concerned.
You hate for your friend to say that. You just want to make him safe, and you can't do that. My parting words to her were, don't worry about Rob. To see you, he'd have to come over Red Mountain Pass, and maybe the mountain will just take care of him. So it wasn't real polite, but it's one of those things you say to comfort a friend. I said that, and she kind of laughed, but she was obviously really troubled that maybe I need that to happen. And then she drove off. I certainly didn't know that within a week she would be gone.
4 days later, a local group of mothers has a get-together. On Tuesday, June 26th, about 20 members of the Grand Junction chapter of Moms Club meet for a night on the town.
MOMS stands for Moms Offering Moms Support. And it's an organization for stay-at-home moms, a lot of whom have home businesses and do lots of other things the way Paige did.
Moms Club was always a natural fit for Paige, with her devotion to family and to her children above all else.
Paige loved her children so much. She enjoyed being successful, but I know in her heart of hearts she probably wished that she just didn't have to work at all and could be with them all the time. We were all in awe of her. She probably had a huge influence on a lot of other moms and how they parented because she handled things differently. There wasn't a whole lot of yelling. She wanted to make everything calm and peaceful and stable.
At Tuesday night's dinner party, Paige can't quite maintain her normally sunny demeanor. Her friends notice something is wrong.
We met at the ale house here in town. Paige showed up a little bit late, and she looked gorgeous as always.
She had her normal glow about her. She was here, and you were going to notice her. Not because she insisted that you did, but just because that was her presence.
A couple of people said she looked beautiful, but she seemed sad.
There was something in her eyes that was bothering her, because that previous Friday where she was at my house and had loaded all of this fear, and then to see that in her eyes, I was getting really worried for her.
But Barbara does not have the time that night for a heart-to-heart. She still wonders to this day what was on Paige's mind. Paige Bergfeld works hard so she can spend time with her children. Not only does she care for 3 small kids by herself, but she is also the sole financial provider for her family. These responsibilities generate some creative thinking on her part.
Paige found herself in a situation where she was the sole breadwinner to take care of her 3 kids and a large mortgage I think she displayed some real ingenuity. She set up a series of dance schools.
I'm Paige Burton, and I come once a week to the dance class.
She got into Pampered Chef, and she also sold these slings for nursing mothers. So she'd do different things to make money.
Reporter Nancy Lofholm has covered Grand Junction for the Denver Post for 16 years.
Pampered Chef is a wholesome type of business that women who were home with their kids, it was something they could do because they could have the parties at home and not have to go out and work.
Pampered Chef pays representatives a commission to promote their products through dinner parties.
Paige Bergfeld really made money at it. It sounds like she was good at it.
Two days later, Paige calls her friend Andrea, sounding much more upbeat than the other night.
I was in a hurry, and I rushed the conversation, and of course, hindsight, I wish I hadn't. But she sounded very happy. She sounded like she was really looking forward to the day.
Paige, in fact, has exciting plans. A positive force from her past has come back into her life. Her first love.
I think Paige was fairly typical. You know, Paige, as a high school kid, was kind of skinny, gawky, braces, so forth. I think her first real swept off her feet was Ron Bigler, who was her first husband. That was the big one. She actually got a 4-year scholarship in nursing, University of Florida in Gainesville. And then Ron Bigler moved down there too. And I would assume that distracted the academic pursuit. So they ended up moving back to Denver and got married fairly promptly after that.
Despite their love for each other, Ron is not yet ready to have children. Their differing feelings about parenthood eventually drive them apart.
Paige knew that family was going to be huge for her. She already had that mothering instinct that her kids were going to be the most important thing in her life. And so that's what kind of led that marriage astray. It was a very amicable divorce, and they wanted different things out of life, so they moved on.
The high school sweethearts always remain friendly. And 9 years later, after Paige is divorced from her second husband, Ron Bigler and Paige get back in touch.
Paige started talking about Ron about 3 months before she disappeared. It was funny because I knew something was up with her. It just seemed like there was a little switch that turned on, and she was just a little more sparkly, a little more happy. She talked to me about how she'd been seeing him and that she still really loved him and that this might be something that would work out.
It was a Thursday. She made arrangements to meet Ron Bigler halfway between Denver and Grand Junction. She drove 2 hours east, he drove 2 hours west.
For Paige, June 28th is starting out to be a very good day.
There's a picnic area, the river runs by, and they spend kind of a late afternoon doing that. She left and came back to Grand Junction. He went back east. When he arrived in Denver, about 2 hours, he called her. She wasn't quite to Grand Junction.
Paige and Ron agreed to talk again later that night when Paige gets home. But Ron never hears from her.
Friday morning, he called her, and her phone immediately rolled over into her voicemail.
This is odd. Because of Paige's children, she never turns her phone off and always keeps the battery charged. All day Friday, Ron continues to call Paige's cell phone.
He called her several times during the day, and it rolled over each time. Never touched base with her. Saturday morning, he called again, and it still did that. This time, he called the house.
And what Ron learns scares him.
My 8-year-old granddaughter answered and said that Paige had not come home Thursday night. Ron, to his great credit, called the Mesa County Sheriff's Office and reported it.
The first time I heard the name Paige Bergfeld was on June 30th, the day that she was reported missing.
This is one of these moments that's freeze-framed in my mind. There's certain events that you just can see it. Everything stops and you can see each detail. They'd gotten a cup of coffee at McDonald's and my cell phone rang, and the caller identified himself as a deputy sheriff with the Mesa County Sheriff's Office. And he said, "Do I know that my daughter Paige has been missing?" And I can just tell you that is a moment that, you just never want to have. I said, "No." I remember I paused and I said, "If she's missing, you're involved in a crime. She would never have left her kids." He asked me, "Do you know that she was involved in an adult business?" And I said, "No." And frankly, that's the first I had ever heard of such a thing.
It's the first indication that there may be danger beneath the surface of this model mother's life.
My staff told me that there was a mother who was missing and that the circumstances of her disappearance were unusual. This was a mother who, by all accounts, appears to love her children very much and would not deliberately be gone from them.
I think we were en route within 20 minutes. Boy, when you get a call like that, you realize how nobody gets trained for that moment.
When he reports her missing, Paige's first husband informs the police that she is working in adult entertainment.
What we had learned was that she had been advertising and putting herself out there as an adult escort.
As a family, we didn't know anything about this adult business situation. I'm told by Ron that he knew that she was involved in an adult business, and he was aware she was going to meet clients Thursday night, and I assume we're talking about adult business clients.
Paige maintains a profile on an adult escort website.
NaughtyNightlife.com is a website where you can arrange what appeared to me to be sexual encounters. They advertised everything from threesomes to partner swapping, erotic massage. Paige tried to make her profile look a little more high class than some of the things on Naughty Nightlife. Some of them are pretty raunchy. Paige's picture was just a torso shot, and she was dressed. She advertised herself as filet mignon as opposed to chopped meat.
Investigators are aware that the nature of this business may have put Paige's life in jeopardy.
That brings another level of complexity. But nevertheless, it was learned early on, and it begins to broaden the scope of what we're looking at.
As with Paige's other jobs, she is well organized in her escort business.
Paige advertised that she would be available for in-call or out-call, which I believe means that she would go to their homes, hotel rooms, or she would bring them to her office.
Paige has been renting this office since March 2006, but no one in the building has any idea of what actually goes on in this room.
The landlord thought that she ran an acupuncture office. That's what she had told him, and never had any reason to suspect anything different. One of the odd things that some of the other people in the building had noticed was that in her office she had a pin cushion with needles stuck in it. And that's not the way acupuncturists operate. I mean, a true acupuncturist has needles that are sterilized and they're in paper. That just was kind of almost a joke. Other people in Paige's office building saw men coming and going, sometimes as many as 4, men in one evening, and they wondered about that. Paige would be dressed in kind of skimpy clothes and high heels. She didn't look like she was in the healthcare providing field, but none of them really suspected what was actually going on.
Paige lists her services as escort, erotic massage, private dancer, and available for groups and parties. But just how far Paige may have gone is unclear.
From reading the critiques on Naughty Nightlife for Paige, I got the sense that there was more happening than massage. They did mention that the extras cost them more, but they were well worth it. I think maybe Paige drew a line, no sexual intercourse. I mean, it wasn't prostitution per se.
Whatever line of work Paige is in, the job of the police is the same:
It's not our place to make a judgment about the activity. It's our place to investigate the facts and find out what happened.
And ultimately, her friends believe that Paige is doing this work because it provides quick and easy money, all in an effort to support her children.
Paige needed to make ends meet. She told me that a friend of hers had taught her how to give massages. And so we felt like, well, of course, Paige is just giving massages, perhaps not fully clothed or something. But who's to say you can't do that? And we knew the escort side, perhaps dancing at parties. If it happens to be dancing with very little clothes on, Paige didn't have a problem with that. She was very comfortable with herself, with her body, and that's very different than actually having sex with someone.
When first husband Ron Beigler calls the police on June 30th, Paige has been missing for 36 hours. Their first step is to account for where Paige has been during all of that lost time. Her business practices turn out to be a boon for investigators.
We discovered that there were 2 cell phones, one for her and one for her business, and we were able to get information from both telephones.
While Paige's family is in the dark about her adult business, for at least some close friends, Paige's life is an open book.
She never hid anything. She was very open, and I don't think she had anything to hide. For her, it was strictly a business deal.
This isn't the first time that Paige got involved in adult entertainment.
She was stripping in a Denver club, the Mile High Saloon, and her first husband knew about that. I heard from friends and family members that he was not thrilled about her stripping.
In addition to questions about parenthood, Paige's stripping may have caused tension in the marriage. The couple divorce in 1997, while Paige is still dancing at the Mile High Saloon. And it is there that she meets her second husband. But Paige's next marriage will come with its own complications.
Rob Dixon met Paige while she was dancing at the Mile High Saloon in Denver. They hit it off and were married.
Paige's friends explain that she is someone who goes out and gets what she wants. In 1997, she wants Rob Dixon and all the financial security he offers.
When Paige met Rob, he came from a very wealthy family. So in part, she was attracted to that because she could be the stay-at-home mom.
Rob Dixon's family had made a fortune during the 90s.
Rob Dixon's father was one of the pioneers of the cell phone industry and made some money.
In 1996, Rob sets up a foundation that gives millions of dollars to fire departments in Colorado.
Rob Dixon is a trained paramedic. That's what he likes to do. He likes to help people in their time of need. Rob and his father began a foundation, the whole purpose of which was to supply needed equipment to fire departments, paramedics on the western slope of Colorado.
Rob entrusts his money to an investor he meets in a strip club. And for a while, returns are good. The couple moves to Grand Junction in 1998 and starts having children the same year. Rob chooses to make no secret of his money.
This is a town where if you want to fit in, you might get a pickup truck or an SUV. Rob at one time had expensive Porsches. He had Lexus, Jaguars, Range Rovers, a lemon yellow Ferrari.
I got the sense that Rob liked attention and his nice home and his 9 cars. People were very, very impressed.
By this time in 2001, Paige and Rob have 3 children. It seems they have it all. Then, after September 11th, Rob Dixon's finances take a serious plunge, and all this financial turmoil takes its toll on the family.
Over time, I started noticing that I really never saw him. At Paige's house, you would expect Rob to be out mingling. These are basically Paige's closest friends. And he would go in the bedroom and close the door, just avoidance. It set up a really awkward tension. That was really upsetting to her, that he'd make no point of being a part of anything that she was doing.
Frank Bergfeld believes the anxiety surrounding the loss of Rob's fortune changes him for the worse.
I think it was devastating. I think people that beg for "look at me, aren't I smart," to be in the paper day in and day out, having your bad decisions detailed to the community at large, to someone who had been up there with an ego, it's a long plunge down.
As the years pass, Paige's family and friends grow more concerned about her relationship with Rob.
Paige made a 911 call in 2004.
My husband and I were in a fight, and he was supposed to watch my children while I went to work. He didn't seem to be okay, so I said that I was just going to take the children with me. But he wanted the children to stay with him, and he said that I would come home and find them all murdered.
By the time the police got there, it had all been resolved, and there was no arrest.
Rob's lawyer says that no arrest was made for good reason. Rob Dixon never threatened to kill the children. Rob and his lawyer believe she made the call for ulterior reasons.
The first time Paige called 911, she made an accusation that Rob Dixon was going to kill the children. That had no basis in truth. The police came to the scene. There was nothing inappropriate going on. Nobody was charged. Rob was befuddled. He had no understanding as to what motivated Paige to make a false accusation about him. But fortunately for Mr. Dixon, it was soon very clear he had done nothing wrong and had no bad intentions. And it may have been the start of her campaign to get Rob Dixon out of the house.
1 year later, in 2005, Paige makes another 911 call.
Paige called 911 and said that Rob Dixon had slapped her and shoved her while she was holding their youngest child. And at that time, he was arrested for domestic violence. According to the court files, Paige said that he had accused her of being a whore because she had clothing in her car that indicated to him that she was going out to do topless massage. Rob said that she had told him that she was having to do that again because they were running out of money.
Rob's lawyer insists that Rob always dutifully supported his wife and family. Rob is arrested on third-degree assault, misdemeanor child abuse, and domestic violence charges.
Rob pleaded guilty to harassment. It was a plea bargain, and he had to go to anger management classes.
In exchange for this plea, the charges are eventually dropped.
Paige Dixon claimed that Rob had struck her and the child. The problem was there were no signs of any injury. What actually happened is that Rob found that she was doing topless massages. That's not really what you want the mother of your children and your wife to be doing. According to Rob, he never laid a hand on her, and he and I believe that that second call was manipulation by Paige. She was done with him.
Rob's lawyer says this is an elaborate ruse by Paige to cast herself as the better parent, so she can win custody of the children if they divorce. 2 days after Paige's 911 call, Rob Dixon declares bankruptcy. His Colorado EMT Foundation is unable to pay for equipment it has donated, and taxpayers are forced to pick up the tab.
Rob said that eventually he lost over $10 million. I would think it was more than that.
Not surprisingly, public opinion turns against him.
I would have to say that Rob Dixon came to town as a hero. He was a godsend, and he was Santa Claus. And by the time he left, he was an awful scoundrel because a lot of the places that he had donated equipment to, it had been repossessed. He had just leased it and then didn't make the payments. And then after he got involved in a fire district here, he invested $3.2 million of their money in a shifty internet company in New York, and that money was lost.
According to her loved ones, Paige and her children are feeling the effects of Rob's reversal of fortune.
The relationship certainly started having cracks and coming apart. As the years went by, we see Rob as a sort of a Jekyll and Hyde personality. When they were first married, we knew virtually 100% good Rob. At the end of it all, it was virtually 100% bad Rob. I actually set up a bank account for Paige that was joint, and the purpose was that if she felt for any reason she needed to get away, she'd have enough money to do it.
Paige's friends never doubt for a minute that her fear of ex-husband Rob Dixon is very real.
One day we were at her house and there was no door on part of the cabinet. And so I asked Paige what that was all about. The oldest son was in trouble and Rob was angry with him. And so he was hiding in that cabinet from his dad. And Rob broke the door on that side of the cabinet when he was pulling the child out of there.
Rob's lawyer explains that Rob did break this cabinet door, but by accident. The door simply came off its hinges, and no child was involved.
It just gives me chills.
Rob starts looking for work out of state, and friends raise the possibility of divorce with Paige.
Rob was brokenhearted, but he's also a bright guy, and it seemed pretty obvious that his marriage with Paige was over. If she was going to be involved in adult services, he was not going to be around.
Paige finally accepts the idea that they should divorce.
That's where I saw her sad a lot more because her dream was falling apart. She didn't have, the traditional family and the white picket fence, it was all crumbling, and that was very hard for her.
Rob Dixon leaves Colorado, eventually settling on the East Coast. But even after the divorce is final, Paige is documenting her fears about Rob on a website dedicated to pampered chef consultants.
I've looked at the website, and it seems to also be a support group for these kinds of women. They get on and they tell about themselves. And I know that Paige did that. She talked a little bit about her divorce and her problems with her former husband. Paige said that she was afraid of him. One post even said that the kids were afraid that he would come and kill her.
Were Paige's fears real? And was Rob Dixon somehow involved in her disappearance? Paige's friends say that she has told them of her fear of Rob, so when Paige goes missing, this is one of the first things friends mention to police.
I definitely told the police I was concerned about Rob and that he might be a threat.
Any investigation, one of the first things you're going to look at is existing relationships. In this case, Paige Broomfield had 2 ex-husbands. In the case of Rob Dixon, they had a colorful relationship, and it was one that was not without strife. And there were 911 calls, and there was even a prior domestic violence arrest. And it piqued our interest with regards to trying to understand, did they have enough of a rocky relationship that created a motivation to try to harm Paige?
Could Rob's temper have driven him to the ultimate revenge?
It did not change the facts with regards to where we believe Rob Dixon was during the time of her disappearance and what he was doing at the time.
According to Rob, he was at home in Pennsylvania when Paige's family called, completely unaware that Paige had disappeared.
Rob Dixon was worried that something had happened to her, so he packed all his gear and headed for Colorado.
Meanwhile, the sheriff's office is beginning their search for Paige. They start close to home.
In any case like this, you want to do a cursory search of, the house. One of the things that helped us to gain focus was the lack of things that we saw. We didn't see somebody who came home and packed.
About 9:30 that night, a volunteer arrived with her bloodhounds. They went around the house, inside, outside, and then I was told they took them beyond to the desert.
But nothing concrete is found.
Sunday, they were going to go up in an airplane looking for her car.
While searching for her car, investigators are also trying to track down Paige's last moves.
Cell phone records and voicemail were a big clue in this investigation that gives us an idea of who she may have intended to meet with and who, perhaps wanted to meet with her. We were able to identify individuals and contact them and try to learn their whereabouts and learn their relationship to her.
3 days after her disappearance, there is a huge development. Paige's car is found in flames.
Her vehicle then was reported to us on Sunday, found burning in an industrial area of Grand Junction, and it didn't take much to determine that it was probably set deliberately. It's a huge red flag. Now there's criminal behavior involved with it, and it causes you to think about foul play and that there's somebody that appears to be attempting to cover up a connection.
If I didn't know before, I knew that point. We have a serious problem here. She is in a real bad spot.
It was probably the thing that made me really start freaking out and thinking that something truly awful had happened.
Finding Paige's car tells police that she made it back to Grand Junction from Eagle on June 28th.
I found out Paige was missing the Monday morning after she disappeared. My husband called and said, she's missing. And I said, well, where's Rob? That was my first concern after everything she had been saying to me.
Mom's Club has a meeting scheduled for Monday afternoon, and it quickly becomes all about what's happened to Paige. The more they think about whether or not Paige would choose to leave her children, the more worried they get.
We assume she's dead in one respect, but in another respect said if there's any way for someone to be alive, Paige would find it.
Because of another missing persons case in the Grand Junction area, a local search group had sprung up called the Abby and Jennifer Recovery Foundation. On July 14th, at 6 a.m., Paige's loved ones joined this group in a massive effort to find any sign of Paige.
This is a huge county. It's over 3,300 square miles. 74% of it's public land. It's from High Mountain Meadows all the way to Red Rock Canyon country that the Colorado River runs through. There's literally a million places to hide somebody and a million places to go where you have privacy to do things that bad people sometimes do. It's wide open.
I think the first day we had in the neighborhood of 150 people. You just can't believe how hot it was. When you're looking at 115 degrees, it is very uncomfortable. I just can't believe how much people will give of themselves when they see someone in a tight spot. There's a park downtown in which homeless people gather. And I took some of the flyers. I took a box of waters. There wasn't a lot of thank yous. And then I said, I need your help. Those guys pulled around me like a magnet. And they couldn't have been more helpful. They took all my flyers.
The very next day, there is another huge find.
There were some items found in an area approximately 15 miles away from where the vehicle was found on a state highway.
It was exciting and hopeful at the same time that it was terrifying and sad.
They found items from Paige's purse, from her billfold. They found a Blockbuster rental card, her checkbook, cards, normal things people have in their wallet. The items were found on the opposite side of town from where her house is, the opposite side of town from where she would have come into town from Eagle. I think the police looked at the items that they found as possibly kind of a breadcrumb thing that possibly she might have thrown them out of a car. That had them looking then south of Grand Junction along the river. And they had divers, they had boats. The other theory was that possibly they'd been thrown out by someone as a way to divert them.
However these items got there, the volunteers have to keep searching.
You have to be prepared that you're trying to find a dead person is really what we were searching for ultimately. If she was alive, we weren't going to find her on our searches.
If anything is found, it cannot be publicized for fear it could taint a future trial.
You had to flag anything you thought might be related to her, and that could mean a lot of flags.
Volunteers search throughout the summer.
You don't develop an extreme amount of confidence that you've eliminated all the areas. What you do is develop confidence that you're doing everything you can and moving on to other areas.
But Paige is not found. Despite her friends' concerns, after interviewing Paige's ex-husband Rob Dixon and checking his alibis, police determined that he was not involved. And he is officially cleared.
At this point, I've never uncovered anything that would suggest that Rob Dixon has anything to do with Paige Bergfeld's disappearance.
The Mesa County Sheriff's Department focused on the men in Paige's life, as they should have, but they soon came to the conclusion that neither man could have been involved in Paige's disappearance.
This only makes cops work harder to find a suspect.
We even brought in canines with specific experience in cold trails or cold tracks to try to determine if we could link anything to the car.
These cold case canines sniff out the area where Paige's car was found and lead investigators directly to the door of a local business. A man is about to be named a person of interest. Nearly a month after Paige Bergfeld goes missing, investigators name a person of interest. While much of the evidence must be kept secret in case of a trial, the public learns that canines led straight to this man's place of business.
The canines were useful in tying the car to the business. As a result of that, we're left with Lester Ralph Jones as a person of interest in this investigation to us.
There is talk in the town that Lester Jones and Paige know each other, and that he may be a client whom she refused to meet.
I knew that she knew him. She had talked about her mechanic, Lester. I got the impression that he was very fixated on her.
As best as I can tell, Paige and Jones knew one another, and Paige found Jones repulsive and tried to avoid him.
My husband ended up talking to someone who had a friend who had hired Paige. He said she gives great massages, and he had actually approached her about a full-service massage, and she refused. She said, no, I give massages and that's that. He was like, I'll pay you really well. And she absolutely wouldn't go.
Barbara wonders if perhaps, unlike this friend of a friend, Lester Jones couldn't take no for an answer.
He is big, 6'6", 280. He served time in prison for an act of violence with respect to his ex-wife.
According to Delta County Sheriff's records, in 1999, Jones chased his estranged wife up a mountain road in his car, fast enough to set off her airbags. Her friend jumped out of the car and started running away, and Jones fired a gun at him. The bullets went through his hat.
Mr. Jones was an RV mechanic here in Grand Junction after he had served 3 years of a 5-year prison sentence for domestic violence-related crimes.
Although Jones was imprisoned for assault with a deadly weapon, attempted second-degree kidnapping, and the use of a deadly weapon, Paige's loved ones are not convinced that he is the one.
I see him having a low motive, and I see others that have a high degree of motive.
I know investigators searched Mr. Jones' house at least twice. They were particularly interested in a truck liner. They said they took several bags of things out of the house. They did a lot of searching, but the investigators would never say what they found there or didn't find. And they would also never confirm that they searched his place of business. But I would assume that they did because the dog led over there.
It really doesn't make any sense that someone would go to all the trouble of trying to hide a murder and then put the victim's car in the parking lot next to where they work.
Well, I've never been able to let go of the idea that Rob Dixon was somehow involved in this. He was the only person she mentioned being afraid of.
In the face of intense allegations from Paige's close friends, Rob's lawyer maintains these claims are ludicrous.
Rob Dixon talked with the investigators without a lawyer being present. He said he had nothing to hide. He passed a polygraph with flying colors, so it's pretty clear he could not have been involved in her disappearance at all.
The biggest thing is we need to find Paige. We want to find Paige.
Apparently, Jones and Rob had a connection through their jobs. The two of them had worked for the same fire district, so potentially they stayed in touch. Rob would know that Ralph has a violent background. What better person to set up to knock off your ex-wife?
Neither Rob or I had ever heard of Lester Jones. Jones and Dixon have never met. Jones and Dixon have never spoken. The claim that Lester Jones was being manipulated by Rob Dixon is hogwash, and why anyone would believe that story is beyond us.
In spite of Paige's friends' suspicions and an alleged connection to Lester Jones, the sheriff's office still says Rob Dixon is not a suspect in this case. Neither Lester Jones nor his lawyer have ever made a public statement, and Jones has never been arrested or charged in connection with this case. The open-ended nature of this case leaves friends and family desperate for answers.
Our investigation has not uncovered anything that Paige is still alive. Paige has met with foul play, and we believe that it was likely surrounding her adult entertainment business, and we remain open to other
dinner, but this never leads.
Brittany Drexel disappeared on April 25th, 2009. When a person disappears without a trace, Often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Brittany Drexel's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A teenager from Rochester, New York sneaks away for spring break without her parents' permission.
Brittany, she liked to play both of us. You know, if mom said no, dad said yes.
Being a 100-pound, pretty teenage girl, that's not an area where you want to be by yourself.
While walking back to her hotel, she suddenly vanishes.
I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
Have recent problems at home pushed her to the breaking point?
That was a warning that I need help.
What or who could have led Brittany so far from home?
Where's my little girl? Is my little girl being tortured? Did my little girl get hurt?
I met Brittany, I believe I was 15, she was 14. We became best friends, got to know each other, and been so close ever since.
She used to like to joke around a lot, laugh. Just her smile just made you smile back.
She was such a fun-loving girl and just smiling all the time.
April 22nd, 2009. It's spring break for high school students in Rochester, New York, and with a long winter barely behind them, 17-year-old Brittany Drexel is ready for some warm sunshine. It's a long-standing rite of passage in the Rochester area for high school seniors to spend part of the week-long break in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Just kids, no parental supervision.
There was about 30 or 40 kids going down to Myrtle Beach, and it's kind of a tradition for them to go down there. It's just like any other tourist area. You got hotels, you got shops. Those kids are going down there, drinking, doing drugs, partying, going out to night spots, and laying out on the beach.
Brittany, a high school junior, is friendly with some older kids who ask her to join them for the trip down to Myrtle Beach.
She had asked me if she could go to Myrtle Beach, and I had told her no. And I also told her, you need to talk to your father. I know he wouldn't have allowed her to go, but, you know, she still needed to talk to both of us. And, you know, Brittany, she liked to play both of us. If mom said no, dad said yes.
Dawn and Chad Drexel have recently decided to divorce. Their separation has taken a toll on Brittany and her two siblings.
That Tuesday, Dawn called, 8-ish or something at night. Said, your daughter's not listening to me. She's bringing up this spring break. She wants to go down.
According to Chad, Brittany had recently been sleeping late and skipping school. In his mind, it was no time for her to be going on vacation without parental supervision.
So I told her, Brittany, what's going on? Where are you telling your mother that you want to go to spring break? You're not going anywhere. Silence. She didn't say nothing. Do you understand me, Brittany? Yeah.
The next afternoon, Wednesday, the dispute continues. Brittany is so upset, she storms out of the house. She calls her boyfriend, John Greco, and asks him to pick her up. John, who has been dating Brittany on and off for over 2 years, knows how much Brittany wants to get away for spring break.
Her junior year was a tough year for her. She was dealing with her family being in a divorce. Any problem that me and her would have would escalate the anxiety that she was carrying.
Brittany's close friend Tara has seen how hard junior year has been for her classmate.
She just wanted to hang out with her friends, just not have to stay home. She wanted to go away for spring break. She wanted to just be able to have fun for a week outside of Rochester.
In the months before her disappearance, Brittany has had her share of problems. She overdosed twice on her mom's pain medication. Both times are after a major breakup with John. Brittany's father believes she was feeling the strain of her parents' divorce as well.
In my heart, I felt like this is all my fault because I left the house and now all these things are happening. I went straight to the hospital. They pumped her. She didn't take as many as everyone thought. But that was a warning that I need help.
I could remember the look on her face. Her face was just all red, and she was just crying. Tears were just coming down her face, and I looked at her and I said, Britt, why would you do this? Why? Nothing in life is that bad to do this.
Brittany began seeing a counselor and eventually reconciled with John. This kind of troubling behavior was unusual for her. Brittany had been a carefree child. She talked about becoming a nurse and was also passionate about soccer.
She was just the fastest on that field, no matter what team she played. It's the one thing that every coach always said was, I've never seen a girl that fast.
Brittany, she's energetic, happy-go-lucky. She was the type of person that would walk into a room, and no matter if it was the most depressing day of the week, she would light up that room.
But Brittany's fun-loving spirit is dampened on Wednesday, April 22nd, when her mother refuses her request to go to Myrtle Beach for spring break. Brittany vents to her boyfriend, John, after leaving the house in a huff.
When Brittany had told her mom that she wanted to go to South Carolina, her mom, obviously being a parent, said, no way, you're not going to South Carolina. You're 17 years old. And Brittany retaliated. She got into a fight with her mom. Brittany gave me a call. I came and picked her up and took her to her friend's house.
Later that day, Brittany makes one last request to go to Myrtle Beach.
Well, she had to call and apologized how she acted that day. She says, Mom, can I go to Myrtle Beach? And I told her no. And she goes, why? And I said, Brittany, because first of all, I don't know the people that you're going with. I said, there's no parents. And I said, something's gonna happen. And I said, I don't want anything to happen to you.
Brittany then proposes a new idea for her spring break. She asks her mother if she can spend the rest of her vacation at a friend's house nearby. Her mother agrees. Brittany promises to stay in touch by cell phone over the next few days. But in reality, Brittany makes very different plans, which she shares with her boyfriend, John.
She said, a bunch of my friends want me to go down to Myrtle Beach with them. And I told her, I think it's a good idea. I think you can get away from Rochester. I think it would do you good if you go down to South Carolina for 3 days. Because really, in my eyes, what was gonna happen in 3 days?
Coming up, Brittany's boyfriend's words come back to haunt him.
I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
Days before 17-year-old Brittany Drexel disappears, she has an emotional fight with her mother, Dawn, who has refused to let her go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for spring break. Frustrated, Brittany asks to spend the rest of her vacation instead with a friend who lives nearby her home in Rochester, New York. Her mother agrees. But Brittany has no intention of staying in upstate New York. She decides to make the trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, over 14 hours and 6 states away. She visits her boyfriend John at work before leaving.
It's a difficult memory for me to think about because I had that running in the back of my head, just as everybody does when they're saying goodbye to somebody for a period of time. I think, what if this is the last time I see them? What if something happens? But then I pushed those thoughts to the side and thought, it's only 3 days.
Brittany leaves Rochester with 4 other friends Wednesday night, hoping to be at the beach by the next morning.
The people that she went down with,
I thought were trusting people.
I didn't know them personally. She did ask me to come, and I could not go because I had work.
Over the next few days, Brittany and John are in constant contact via cell phone, sometimes texting several times an hour. She tells him that she is staying at a hotel on the beach called the Bar Harbor Hotel.
While she was down there, her first few texts were, this weather is incredible. I mean, there's palm trees. Being out by the ocean, it was incredible.
But it isn't only the soft sand and inviting water that entice Brittany and her friends. With an abundance of bars and clubs, the area is a paradise for high schoolers enjoying independence for the first time. While the drinking age is 21, many of the clubs allow kids as young as 17 to enter.
The bars and the clubs down at Myrtle Beach, it's more based around money. They can get tons of teenagers to come in, and if they turn the blind eye to the fact that they're 16, 17 years old, they're still gonna make the money.
Brittany takes full advantage of her spring break freedom. She tells her mom that she's watching movies at her friend's house in Rochester, while sharing with John that she is having an amazing vacation hundreds of miles away.
She was having a ton of fun. She was out having a good time, living the spring break life. She was with a bunch of her friends, having a good time.
But by the second day, all that changes. Brittany starts feeling alienated from her friends.
Brittany had told me that they were using a lot of drugs. She wasn't into the drug scene, and therefore she tried to exclude herself from that, and she tried doing things on her own. She walked to the restaurant by herself. She walked down to the beach by herself. Clearly, being in South Carolina, being a 100-pound, pretty teenage girl, that's not an area where you want to be by yourself.
Early Friday evening, Brittany runs into a male friend from Rochester. 20-year-old Peter Brozowitz works for several local Rochester nightclubs. He's staying with some friends at the Blue Water Resort in Myrtle Beach, just a mile away from Brittany's hotel.
Peter Brozowitz was a kid who I didn't know personally, but Brittany did. He was always out at the parties at the clubs, so we became acquaintances through just the parties and knowing the same people. I assumed, being a good friend to Brittany, that he would watch over her.
On Saturday afternoon, Brittany's mom and sister, thinking that Brittany is at her friend's house in Rochester, call to say that they just bought her a new pair of soccer cleats. They ask about her plans that day, now that the weather has suddenly shot up into the 80s, unusually warm for Rochester in April.
I asked her where she is, and she says I'm at the beach. Now, it was a decent day here in Rochester, and I thought she was at Charlotte Beach.
Charlotte Beach in Rochester is just 20 minutes from Brittany's house. Dawn still believes that Brittany is nearby and is being supervised by her friend's parents.
I had talked to her and also I talked to a parent. She had put someone on the phone, I don't know who that was, and said that it was okay for Brittany to stay there. And I asked Brittany what she had planned on doing later. And she said, well, we're gonna go over to my friend's house and we're just gonna watch movies and not do too much of anything.
Brittany tells her mom that she'll return home the next day and thanks her for letting her spend the past few days with her friends.
She goes, I'll see you tomorrow, and then I love you. And I said, okay, I love you too. And then we hung up.
A seemingly normal conversation will soon take on tragic significance. It becomes the last time Dawn talks to her daughter before she disappears. Meanwhile, Brittany decides to meet up with her friend Peter. Before she goes, she borrows a pair of shorts from one of her friends. At around 8 o'clock, Brittany texts John en route to meet Peter at the Blue Water Resort. She continues to report that she is having a miserable time and that she is looking forward to coming home the next day.
She hated being down there, and she didn't like the people she went down with.
Shortly after arriving at the Blue Water Resort, Brittany receives a text from her friend saying she wants her shorts back so she can wear them that night. Annoyed, Brittany tells Peter she has to walk back to her hotel, which is over a mile down the road. She texts John as she leaves.
And it was, I can't wait to come home. I can't wait to see you. I'm so angry at everybody down here. I said, I think that you should have a good time. Just try to relax. It's your last night. Try to enjoy it. You're down there anyways. You might as well try to enjoy it before you come home and get back to school.
Brittany and John text each other as she leaves the Blue Water Resort. But then, something strange happens. She stops responding to his messages.
I knew that something was up about 10 to 20 minutes later, but a half an hour later was when I really began to start freaking out. Me and Brittany talked every 10 minutes on the phone. I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
An hour later, John is worried. He threatens to tell her mom the truth about where Brittany really is if she doesn't text him back.
I called Brittany, and there was no response. So I texted her, and I said, if she didn't get in contact with me, I was gonna call her mom. And I was gonna break the news to the family that she was down in South Carolina. A couple minutes went by, she didn't text me back, didn't call me back.
Meanwhile, Dawn Drexel, Brittany's mother, is just returning home after having dinner with a few friends when she gets the call from John.
Her mom said, I'm gonna kill her. Like, there's no way that she went behind my back and did this without letting me know about it. And she was initially very angry, as any parent would be if they found out their kid was 14 hours away.
It wasn't registering until it started to sink in and I was thinking about it. Well, my heart dropped. I mean, what do you mean you can't find my daughter? And I started freaking out.
As soon as Dawn gets off the phone with John, she desperately tries to get in touch with Brittany.
When we were first texting her and calling her that night that she went missing, it would keep ringing and ringing and ringing, and then it started just to go to voicemail.
When I finished up work, it was 11 o'clock at night, and I got in my car and I headed right to Brittany's house. And I walked in the door, and the whole family was sitting at the table. And I sat down and started to explain what happened.
Dawn calls the Rochester police, but they can't do much from upstate New York. So John reaches out to a friend of Brittany's in North Carolina, who drives straight to Myrtle Beach to file a missing persons report with local police. Meanwhile, Brittany's family and friends continue trying to reach her by phone, but each call goes straight to voicemail. The next morning, Brittany's mom, boyfriend, grandparents, and 2 friends head down to Myrtle Beach to search for Brittany, while her father, Chad, looks after her siblings.
Here I am driving down to Myrtle Beach, and I am just beside myself, thinking, how could this happen to my daughter? Where is she? Am I going to be able to find her?
Coming up, investigators get a break when they discover surveillance footage that could help them find the missing teen. 17-year-old Brittany Drexel has slipped off to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for spring break, unbeknownst to her parents. At about 9 p.m., Saturday, April 25th, she's walking to her hotel while texting her boyfriend John, when suddenly her texts stop. Brittany is not seen or heard from again. Myrtle Beach Police Lieutenant Joseph Kapp and Detective Vincent Dorio head the investigation. As police begin the search for Brittany, her mother, her boyfriend John, her grandparents, and 2 friends are still en route from Rochester, New York to Myrtle Beach.
Trip down to South Carolina, I don't think anybody slept. It was extremely difficult because we knew that we're going down there to search for Brittany missing. It almost was a step out of reality. It was almost like this couldn't be happening.
Brittany has been missing about 12 hours. Myrtle Beach police launch an intensive search, fanning out in all directions from the hotel where Brittany was last seen. They canvass beaches and local hotels, looking for possible leads. Police find the friends with whom Brittany traveled from Rochester. They tell detectives they haven't been able to reach her since she disappeared and have no idea where she could be. When Brittany's mother meets with Myrtle Beach investigators, they ask her about Brittany's home life.
They thought she ran away. And I know my daughter didn't run away. I mean, she was going to be 18. She felt like she was a grown-up. She was also looking at colleges and things like that.
No indication that she did a lot of drinking or anything of that nature while she was here.
Her brother and sister, she loves to death, and she would never leave them. Never just up and leave them willingly.
The morning after Brittany's last contact with her boyfriend, John, Myrtle Beach police are still hopeful this case will resolve quickly, like so many other spring break missing persons cases.
Especially with kids, they'll go and sit on the beach and talk. They lose track of time is generally what happens.
Detective Dorio and Lieutenant Cap begin to work a lead. They learn that Peter Brozowitz, the young man Brittany went to see the night before, left town with his buddies at about 2 a.m. that morning, about 5 hours after Brittany vanished.
It appeared that they had left suddenly in the night. They had forgotten clothing and they didn't get a deposit. And I mean, you know, these contributing factors appeared to be very, very suspicious.
As soon as Peter arrives back in Rochester, he is quick to acquire the representation of a criminal defense attorney. Investigators begin piecing together Brittany's last hours. On the way from her hotel to visit Peter and his friends at the Blue Water Resort, a traffic camera captures her walking and texting at about 8:15 p.m.
We do see her, she's walking alone and using her phone. And we verify that she was calling the people that she was going to visit to try and find the location of the motel.
According to Peter, Brittany left his room shortly after she arrived to go back to her hotel and return the pair of shorts to her friend. Detective Dorio checks the surveillance tapes of the Blue Water Resort. They verify Peter's story.
We get her going through the motel's front lobby doors, and then a short time later, exiting the motel and going northbound towards her motel.
Detective Dorio can now pinpoint the time Brittany left the Blue Water Resort, 8:48 p.m. Police estimate it should have taken Brittany about 15 minutes to reach the traffic camera on the return trip to her hotel.
Reviewing the tape on the traffic camera, we learned that Brittany never made it that far.
Somewhere between the Blue Water Resort and her own hotel, Brittany vanishes. Police continue to question Peter, the last known person to see Brittany Drexel. They're curious about his departure in the middle of the night, shortly after Brittany disappeared.
Peter totally cooperated with us. I mean, yes, he got an attorney, but he and his attorney were straightforward.
Peter tells them one of his friends was pressured by his mother to return to Rochester as soon as possible.
We followed up on all the information, what they told us they had done.
After investigating Peter's story, police find no evidence that he and his friends had anything to do with Brittany's disappearance. Unfortunately, investigators have no other leads on what may have happened to her, but they do obtain Brittany's cell phone records. What they find is not what they expect. The last known location of her cell phone is over an hour away in a very unwelcoming area. Coming up, is Brittany still alive?
It's the most horrific thing you would want to go through as a parent.
While Myrtle Beach police search the city for 17-year-old Brittany Drexel, Detective Vincent Dorio is investigating the last minutes before she disappears. On April 25th, 2009, what should have been the last night of her vacation, Brittany vanishes after visiting her friend Peter at the Blue Water Resort.
She was still in Myrtle Beach.
Graham Moore, a local reporter, has been tracking Brittany's case since her disappearance.
They were in the hotel room. I don't think she was there that long. She got a call from her friend saying, hey, can you bring me back my shorts? She left there, from what I understand. She was texting with her boyfriend.
The Blue Water's surveillance tapes show Brittany leaving at 8:48 p.m. But Brittany never appears on footage from a traffic camera along the way, returning to her hotel. Now, with her cell phone records in hand, detectives hope to learn what happened during those crucial few minutes.
At 8:58, she writes back to John, no, I'm staying in, packing, and going to sleep, probably. At that point, John asks, why babe, why boo?
According to Brittany's cell phone records, this exchange with John, her boyfriend back in Rochester, occurs 10 minutes after she leaves the Blue Water Resort. She is supposed to be walking back to her hotel, just over a mile away. But the records show that suddenly, all outbound activity from Brittany's phone stops after this text.
About 9:15, he starts writing back again, hey, why aren't you answering me? I'm concerned. At that point, that's when he starts text messaging her over and over. Where are you? You okay?
John texts some of the friends who traveled with Brittany to see if they can reach her, giving investigators their next lead.
And they start making calls, and that's how we're able to start tracking her as the phone is going southbound.
Anytime one of her friends called Brittany, her cell phone would ping or communicate with the nearest cell phone tower. This tells investigators the approximate location of Brittany's phone at that moment. Although she is supposed to be heading north towards her hotel, at 9:27 p.m., about 30 minutes after her last text, the data reveals that Brittany's phone is heading southbound on Route 17. Her phone is pinging cell towers in an area called Surfside Beach, almost 7 miles south of Myrtle Beach. It would take 2 hours to walk there and about 15 minutes by car.
The phone itself, because we're not sure if she was separated from the phone, was moving at a high enough rate of speed that it was in a vehicle.
Police aren't sure if the cell phone battery then dies or if it gets destroyed. But at 11:58 p.m., just 3 hours after Brittany's last text to John, her phone last pings tower number 332. It's located 2 counties and over 50 miles south of Myrtle Beach, near Georgetown County.
If you look at the timeline of the cell phone, made this 50-mile trek in a relatively short period of time. So it wasn't like it meandered down through the night. That cell phone made a beeline for Georgetown County.
The area is near the North Santee River, around the Pole Yard boat landing. It's an isolated, rural spot.
This right here is off the beaten path. There's nothing but country surrounding this area. The folks that would know it are fishermen or some of the locals from the town of Georgetown, maybe just across the river.
A 17-year-old from Rochester, New York is not going to end up at Pole Yard boat landing on a Saturday night during her spring break. It's a very rural part of the county, surrounded by water.
Myrtle Beach police launched their search here, in the area covered by cell phone tower number 332.
This right here is in the cell phone zone. It's about 4 miles wide, 5 miles deep. They staged here. The searchers then branched out to other likely zones.
The terrain in these parts is notoriously forbidding.
We have alligators in the river. There are wild hogs, plenty of snakes, lots of biting insects. It's not a very hospitable place for anybody to be at.
You can't imagine the conditions the searchers had to go through. Flies the size of golf balls. Very hot, very humid, very thick brush. A lot of dangerous wildlife.
After investigators conduct an initial search and find no trace of Brittany, local police and other agencies join forces to expand the effort.
Because of the phone, it goes through Horry, Georgetown, and Charleston County. So we have 3 different large agencies working this together.
Georgetown and Charleston furnished their boats with their sonar, and we checked the rivers. Charleston County had their helicopter there.
They did a massive ground search. They were running their ATVs through there every 20 minutes to get the alligators to back off so the dogs could come through. They had 6 shooters with their dogs because of the boar. I mean, it was just very dangerous.
While investigators comb the area, Dawn and Brittany's other loved ones hold out hope for some sign of Brittany.
There's a lot of questions going through my mind. It's the most horrific thing you would want to go through as a parent.
It was very intense. There were long days. There was a lot of ground covered. There was a lot of hope in the beginning that something was going to be found. It was about a week long of just intense searching, hundreds of volunteers out there, looking for that cell phone, looking for any clue of Brittany.
Monica Kaysen, director of the Q Center for Missing Persons, a family advocacy group that assembles volunteer search parties, is called in to help.
We were going in the first 11 days that Brittany disappeared. We searched sunup to sundown every day. All of the probable areas that people enter, the probable areas someone could have pulled offside the road, dirt roads with nobody lives on them at all.
Authorities know that the treacherous wildlife gives Brittany a slim chance of survival.
The urgency was there to get her before the wild animals did.
there's always going to be hope. But while we're doing these searches, we certainly had numerous cadaver dogs.
When they had been doing the search, they had told me, they said if she's in this area, she would have been ate within 6 hours. You know, and I felt like they're thinking she's not alive, which scared me even more. I mean, you become frantic. I mean, you never think of your child going before you do.
The search teams find no sign of Brittany. Investigators continue combing the area and looking for leads, while Brittany's family and friends return to Rochester.
Coming home without Brittany was very, very difficult. I came home, her little brother Camden came over to my house, and he goes...
Coming up, the investigation into Brittany's disappearance seems completely stalled until 8 months after she goes missing, when a potential clue finally emerges.
A week-long search for missing spring breaker Brittany Drexel turned up a possible piece of evidence in her disappearance.
It has been close to 8 months since 17-year-old Brittany Drexel vanished while on spring break in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Police have no promising leads in the case. Finally, in mid-December, investigators get a tip. It prompts them to search an area just north of where they had previously traced Brittany's cell phone. They scour the banks of the Santee River, surrounded by swamps and alligators.
The Georgetown County had asked us to check out an area that was a tip called in. We went over there to check it out. During that search, we were notified that the sunglasses were found.
While combing the area, authorities get an intriguing lead. A pair of sunglasses that could be Brittany's is spotted on the muddy embankment of the Santee River.
On the second day of that search, a man and his wife were on a boat. They had docked along the riverbank there, went to collect some firewood and came across a pair of sunglasses. They had seen the night before on the news that searchers were out there looking for a missing girl, and they thought it was odd, the place that they found these sunglasses. They found these sunglasses on a pretty desolate part of the riverbank. Investigators were pretty hopeful when they found them.
Brittany's mom wants to believe that the glasses could be her daughter's.
I had seen what the sunglasses look like, and I know Brittany had gotten a pair for Easter.
But others are skeptical they belong to Brittany.
I don't recognize them. It doesn't mean that when she was down there, she didn't buy them.
It was months and months after her disappearance. So why all of a sudden are glasses showing up there that don't have all the mud, all the weathered activity on it, the leaves, the branches, all that? It could just be they had hikers and someone lost them out of their backpack.
Since the sunglasses turn up a few miles from where the teams have resumed searching, those close to Brittany's case question whether the appearance of this potential clue might be calculated.
Someone may have put them there that has been getting some heat from the authorities and wanted to try to bring the search elsewhere from this property or this area to this area now.
Were they meant to be found? I feel confident that, if someone did put them there, that they wanted to be found.
Investigators send the glasses to forensics for testing.
They sent them off to see if they could collect DNA off of them to make any sort of match. And from what I've been told, there was no DNA on the glasses. Again, another dead end for Dawn Drexel and Brittany's family.
In early April, a few weeks before the one-year anniversary of Brittany's disappearance, police announced that they have identified 3 to 4 persons of interest in the case.
The people that we're looking at feel really good about all of our little pieces of evidence. They haven't been tied in yet, but they're all pointing in the same direction, towards certain people.
Detectives will not reveal more information, yet they say they now believe this is no longer a missing persons case, but a homicide. However, Detective Dorio still needs more to file charges.
Just a matter of time now before everything gets put together and we can say, yes, here's a solid arrest.
While investigators continue pursuing the case, Dawn Drexel has her own theory and believes Brittany may have been abducted.
I think Brittany's still alive. I think somebody's holding her against her will. I've heard a lot about human trafficking. Anybody can be a trafficker. That person could be somebody that you meet and become friends with. It could be somebody that promises you, you know, a modeling career, or you can make this much money, or anything.
If you know Brittany, if you're close to Brittany, you gotta watch out for her. You cannot let her just walk around by herself because she thinks that nothing can hurt her. She's too trusting of people, and you need to watch out for her.
However, authorities are skeptical that this is a human trafficking case.
We've got no indication. We've had no history. Most of your human trafficking, they target victims where there's a language barrier, and generally where human trafficking takes place, it continues to take place. We've had nothing prior or since that would be an indicator.
Human trafficking in South Carolina is not a problem that I know about, at least. Being from South Carolina, you never hear about human trafficking.
We can't eliminate it, but it's certainly not at the forefront of our investigation.
In an effort to generate new leads in the investigation, police released to the media a new and important piece of evidence.
There is some new information in the disappearance of a New York teenager who vanished nearly a year ago on a spring.
A video of Brittany Drexel, shot just 24 hours before she disappeared.
Hey, Brett.
What?
A college student from the Midwest, who had also been vacationing in Myrtle Beach, shot this video on the night of Friday, April 24th, after befriending Brittany along Ocean Boulevard.
There were some kids that were antagonizing her because she was a really pretty girl. Some kids were yelling at her and antagonizing her, and so she asked some kid, you know, will you walk with me, so that they stopped yelling towards me.
They talked and they went to her motel room, and he did a short video clip of her while they were talking. And it was confirmed that it was, in fact, Brittany.
Investigators verified that the student has an alibi and has no knowledge of Brittany's whereabouts.
Once he was aware that he had video, he and his family contacted us and relinquished the video to us.
Brittany Drexel has yet to be found.
The video receives national attention.
Now, never-before-seen images have surfaced from the night before she disappeared.
A boy she had met on spring break shot this cell phone video at a hotel.
Unfortunately, nothing emerges that enables police to make an arrest. Do not give up hope that one day they will hear from her again.
We just miss her to our souls.